Informative, incisive, intensive. Get your daily dose of news and analysis in English News Night every weekday at 9 p.m. on DD India.
Situated in the plain mountain ranges in Tamil Nadu, Kodaikanal presents a picturesque sight to behold. If this is nature's bounty here, man has gifted it a priceless heritage of science by establishing a solar observatory in Kodaikanal. This observatory was established on April 1, 1899. Equipments and manpower from then Madras Observatory were shifted here. The data collected about the various activities on the solar surface are the oldest one in India. The photographs taken from this observatory for the last 100 years are now being digitized so that the last 10 solar cycles can be studied. The flow of the gases on the solar surface, which is called Evershed effect, was first discovered in this observatory in January 1999 by John Evershed. This is a solar tunnel telescope which is fitted with a modern spectrograph at the Kodaikanal Observatory. This is fitted with two mirrors of 60 cm diameter and has been placed at a tower 11 meter high. These mirrors send the sunlight using another flat mirror into the 60 meter long underground horizontal tunnel where the image of the sun is projected. This observatory helps in investigating all the activities on the solar surface, including the solar flares. The magnetic field of the sun can also be measured. Besides, the information about the turbulence in the ionosphere can also be received. For the purpose of weather forecast, data relating to the temperature of the earth, atmospheric pressure, and rain is also collected at the observatory and sent to different meteorological departments in India and abroad. Functioning for the last 112 years, the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory is not just a historic heritage of the country, it is also contributing.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with key stakeholders from electronic media through video conferencing, asks channels to spread scientific reports, involve informed people in their discussions and counter the spread of misinformation, also interacts with industry leaders through video conferencing. Centre tells the state governments to enforce lockdown strictly, says legal action will be taken against those violating the directions. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says people are not taking lockdown seriously, asks state governments to ensure that rules and regulations are strictly followed. Cabinet Secretary writes to Chief Secretaries of the states on strict compliance of the lockdown. A total of 415 positive COVID-19 cases in India, 23 cases recovered so far in the country, 7 deaths reported. Complete lockdown in 19 states and union territories. The Supreme Court and High Court suspend work. States also to take steps to tackle the spread of COVID-19. Curfew imposed in Punjab, while Uttarakhand, Chandigarh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Nagaland, Himachal Pradesh and Rajasthan announced shutdown till 31st of March. 15 districts of UP in lockdown. Share markets crash over fears of COVID-19 spread. BSE's Sensex tanks over 3,900 points to close below 26,000 mark, while Nifty 2 nosedives over 1,100 points to shut shop around 7,600 mark. Lok Sabha adjourns a sine die after passage of the Finance Bill 2020. A total of 13 bills passed during the session. Speaker Om Birla lists out the work done in the session. Internationally, over 3,25,000 people reported infected with COVID-19 across the globe, over 14,000 deaths reported worldwide, with Italy alone reporting over 5,500 deaths. Several countries continue to lock down to contain the spread of COVID-19 virus. 186 countries and regions report COVID-19 infections. Hello and welcome. You're watching DD India and DD News with me, Munmun Bhattacharya. Let's get started with the top story. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that media should counter pessimism and panic through positive communication. Interacting with stakeholders from electronic media channels through video conferencing today to discuss the emerging challenges in light of the spread of COVID-19, PM thanked the media for understanding the gravity of the pandemic threat from day one and appreciated the role played by channels in spreading awareness. He asked the channels to spread scientific reports, involve informed people in their discussions and counter the spread of misinformation. He emphasized the importance of discipline from citizens and maintaining social distancing to counter the spread of the virus. The Prime Minister commended the dedication and commitment of the reporters, camera persons and technicians who are working tirelessly in the field and in newsrooms across the country, calling their work as service to the nation. Terming COVID-19 as a lifetime challenge, PM said that it needs to be tackled through new and innovative solutions. The Prime Minister said a long battle lies ahead of the country whereby awareness for social distancing has to be spread and information about latest developments and key decisions needs to be communicated swiftly and professionally by the channels through easy-to-grasp language. The Prime Minister said that news channels serve as a vital means of feedback and the government is constantly acting on this feedback. He also gave suggestions to the channels to provide dedicated boom mics to reporters in the field and take precautions like maintaining a distance of at least 1 meter while conducting interviews. The media representatives thanked the Prime Minister for his leadership and hard work in tackling the challenge. They assured the Prime Minister of working with him in countering the pandemic. Citing the emotional connect of the PM with the people, the representatives requested him to address the nation more frequently and to include positive stories, especially the experiences of those who have recovered from COVID-19 in his address. It was also suggested that Prasar Bharati could give out authentic information twice a day, which can be used by other television channels. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also interacted with Indian industry leaders through video conferencing in view of the outbreak of COVID-19. That's PM's second interaction in a day through video conferencing by various stakeholders for tackling the outbreak of COVID-19 and to spread further information to take various walks of life along in this fight against COVID-19. The centre has asked state governments to strictly enforce lockdowns and take legal action against violators, according to an official statement. The centre and state governments decided to completely lock down 76 districts across the country where coronavirus cases have been reported till the 31st of March. In view of the need to contain the spread of the deadly COVID-19, it was agreed that there was an urgent need to extend the restrictions on the movement of non-essential passenger transport. Delhi has been locked down from 6 a.m. today and will continue till midnight of the 31st of March. Some other states have also enforced lockdown. Delhi's borders will remain sealed during the lockdown, but essential services related to health, food, water and power supply will continue, and 25% of DTC buses will run to transport people associated with essential services. That is expected to be expanded to 50% from tomorrow, as stated by Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has appealed to state governments to ensure that rules and regulations of the coronavirus lockdown are enforced, as he noted that many people are not taking the measures seriously. He tweeted, and I quote, "Many people are still not taking the lockdown seriously. Please save yourself, save your family, follow the instructions seriously. I request state governments to ensure rules and laws are followed," he said in a tweet in Hindi. Let's now go across to a press briefing by Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar.
के सहयोग से ही इस महामारी को निपटने में सफलता मिलेगी। आप सब लोगों को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
On the ways in which the Bihar government plans to tackle this outbreak of COVID-19. Earlier in the day, we also saw how Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal addressed people on what the Delhi government plans to do. So basically, all state governments are taking concerted measures in order to counter this pandemic in coordination with the central government. The centre has also asked all the state governments to ensure that the lockdowns are strictly implemented and action is taken against violators. Meanwhile, the principal spokesperson of the Government of India, K.S. Datwalia, has taken to Twitter to inform that the states have been asked to strictly enforce the lockdown in the areas where it has been announced. He further said that legal action will be taken against violators. The total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in India has risen to 415. The cases include 41 foreign nationals. Out of a total of the positive cases, 23 people have been discharged after being cured and 7 patients have died. So far, over 15.17 lakh passengers have been screened at various airports across the country. Several states have decided to impose lockdowns to prevent and contain the spread of COVID-19 pandemic in the country, followed by the success of the 14 hours long voluntary quarantine drive as proposed by the Prime Minister on Sunday. Lockdowns were imposed in 76 districts in 22 states as these states are having corona positive cases. Entire Delhi has been under lockdown since 6 a.m. in the morning. States like Uttarakhand, Punjab, Chandigarh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Nagaland and Rajasthan have announced shutdown till the 31st of March. Meanwhile, Himachal Pradesh has undergone complete lockdown in the state and the government has ensured seamless availability of essential services in the country. There is a full lockdown in 16 states and union territories, and in around 6 states and union territories there is a partial lockdown. This was stated by Health Ministry officials this afternoon. There's a lockdown situation, but essential services are being provided to all. Supplies of milk, vegetables, fruits, etc. are being provided. Joint Secretary of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Lok Sabha, held a press conference on the prevailing COVID-19 situation, where he said that currently there are a total of 415 cases of COVID-19, out of which 23 patients have recovered and 7 have died. He also said that 19 states are under complete lockdown.
In terms of number of cases, मैं आपकी दृष्टि में लाना चाहूँगा कि 415 कंफर्म केसेस देश में अभी तक रिपोर्ट हुए हैं, जिसमें से 23 पेशेंट डिस्चार्ज भी हो चुके हैं ठीक होने के बाद और 7 डेथ रिपोर्ट हुई हैं, जिनमें सभी लोगों को कोई कोमॉर्बिड कंडीशंस भी थी। जो स्टेट जिनको की कंप्लीट लॉकडाउन की स्थिति में लिया गया है वह हैं चंडीगढ़, दिल्ली, गोवा, जम्मू एंड कश्मीर, नागालैंड, राजस्थान, उत्तराखंड, वेस्ट बंगाल, लद्दाख, झारखंड, अरुणाचल प्रदेश, बिहार, त्रिपुरा, तेलंगाना, छत्तीसगढ़, पंजाब, हिमाचल प्रदेश, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh.
Lok Sabha also said that Cabinet Secretary has written a letter to the Chief Secretaries of States and directed them to ensure that the lockdown takes place with full effect.
कैबिनेट सेक्रेटरी साहब ने आज भी एक लेटर जो है स्टेट के चीफ सेक्रेटरीज को लिखा है। उन्होंने स्टेट्स को थैंक्स किया है कि उन्होंने प्रॉम्प्ट एक्शन लिया है, जैसे कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की तरफ से उनको जो हमने कहा था, और साथ में उन्होंने अपने लेटर में एक और स्पेसिफिक इशू जो हाईलाइट किया है वो कहा है कि आज जरूरत है कि स्टेट्स इस सिचुएशन को 24/7 मॉनिटर करें और साथ ही अगर जरूरत पड़े कोई और एक्शन लेना पड़े इन टर्म्स ऑफ इसेंशियल एक्टिविटीज के अलावा बाकी सारी एक्टिविटीज को रेस्ट्रिक्ट किया जाए तो उसको भी टाइमली डिसीजन लिया जाए और एडिशनल एरियाज में अगर रेस्ट्रिक्शन इंपोज करनी पड़े तो उसके लिए तुरंत कार्य किया जाए। उन्होंने ये भी कहा है अपने लेटर में कि जो रेस्ट्रिक्शंस हैं जो इंपोज की गई हैं उनको सख्ती से अमल किया जाए और साथ ही डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट्स को, एसपीज ऑफ पुलिस को, पुलिस कमिश्नर्स और म्युनिसिपल कमिश्नर्स जो कंसर्न्ड अधिकारी हैं उनको सख्ती से इसको अमल करने के आदेश दिए जाएं।
Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs, Punya Salila Srivastava said that to contain the spread of the pandemic, it has been instructed to implement orders in a strict manner to states. Moreover, the people found flouting directions and orders will have to face strict action.
ये जो रेस्ट्रिक्शंस इम्पोज किए गए हैं उनका रिव्यू करने के लिए, उनका इन्फोर्समेंट रिव्यू करने के लिए आज होम सेक्रेटरी ने सारे डीजीपीज, स्टेट्स एंड यूटीज के डीजीपीज के साथ एक वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस की थी जिसमें कमिश्नर पुलिस दिल्ली भी थे और सारे स्टेट्स के साथ यही बातचीत हुई है कि दीज रेस्ट्रिक्शंस हैव टू बी इन्फोर्स्ड स्ट्रिक्टली और कोई भी अगर ये रेस्ट्रिक्शंस वायलेट करता है तो उसके खिलाफ एक्शन लेना है क्योंकि ये एक बहुत ज़रूरी कदम है जिससे कि हम कोविड का स्प्रेड रोक सकते हैं.
Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray announced curfew in the state and said that he was compelled to announce a statewide curfew because people were not listening to quarantine guidelines. Punjab government has imposed a full curfew in the state after a review meeting with Chief Secretary and other higher officials. After reviewing the situation with the Chief Secretary and DGP, the CM announced full curfew with no relaxations. District collectors have been asked to issue orders accordingly. Any person required to be given relaxation will be so allowed specifically for a given period and purpose. Amidst the increasing COVID-19 pandemic cases in the country, Government of India is leaving no stone unturned to combat the threat. DGCA had issued guidelines on social distancing to airlines and airport operators. The guidelines ask airlines and airport operators to ensure adequate spacing at check-in counters between passengers, a minimum distance of 1 meter, and also between each individual counters, ensure availability of adequate staff for guiding the passengers at check-in counters, and during security checks, passengers to be advised to sit at adequate distance in waiting area, keeping one seat vacant. Ensure that boarding is done in a manner to avoid bunching of passengers at any time and also ensure adequate spacing between passengers and boarding lines. Provide sanitizers for staff and passengers at the entry of the aircraft, cabin crew to maintain adequate distance while serving passengers. Seat allocation at the time of check-in is to be done in a manner to ensure that the seat between the two passengers is kept empty. Any other action is deemed appropriate to ensure social distancing is maintained. Well, what's important to note here is that all domestic air travel has been suspended from midnight onwards on the 24th, that is tomorrow. So these guidelines will only be effective until then. Following the passage of finance bill in lower house, the Lok Sabha was adjourned sine die nearly 2 weeks ahead of schedule due to coronavirus outbreak. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla said that the session worked for 190 hours and 23 minutes in total, including 11 hours and 51 minutes discussion on the union budget.
हमने 23 बेड के आज की बैठक सहित 109 घंटे 23 मिनट तक चली. सभा ने 31 जनवरी 2020 को सदनों के सदस्यों को महामहिम राष्ट्रपति के अभिभाषण पर धन्यवाद प्रकाश को अंगीकृत किया. प्रस्ताव 15 घंटे 21 मिनट तक चले सुव्यवस्थित वाद विवाद के पश्चात स्वीकार किया गया. कुल मिलाकर 13 विधेयक पारित हुए. 98 तारांकित प्रश्नों के उत्तर दिए गए. प्रश्नकाल के पश्चात सदस्यों ने देर शाम तक बैठकर लगभग 436 अभिलंब लोकमत के मामले उठाए गए. इस सत्र में विभिन्न महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दों पर चर्चा करने के लिए ये सभा 21 घंटे 48 मिनट देर रात तक बैठी.
Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla also hailed the 5 p.m. 5-minute initiative and said that the unity with which the country witnessed last evening was the soul of India, and this was due to the Prime Minister's inspiration that the entire country paid respects to our corona warriors in unison.
सारा हिंदुस्तान एक था. कल शाम को 5 बजे हम सबने जो देखा वो भारत की आत्मा थी. माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के प्रेरक प्रयासों से संपूर्ण देश एकजुट था. उनके आह्वान पर ये देश इस महामारी से निपटने के लिए एकजुट दिखा। संपूर्ण देश ने सभी डॉक्टरों, नर्सों, स्वास्थ्य कर्मी, सफाई कर्मियों, एयरपोर्ट के कर्मचारियों, पुलिस कर्मियों, मीडिया ने जिस तरीके की सेवाएं प्रदान की, उसके लिए हम सब उनका अभिवादन करते हैं।
In Rajya Sabha today, Vice President Venkiah Naidu condemned the dastardly attack by Maoists on security forces that led to the death of 17 security personnel and 15 were injured in Chhattisgarh. Vice President said, "My heartfelt condolences to the families of the martyred soldiers and wishes for the speedy recovery of the injured."
Honorable members, as you might be aware, 17 security personnel were reportedly killed and 15 others were injured in an encounter with Maoists in the Manipura jungles in the Bastar region of Sukma district of Chhattisgarh on the 21st of March 2020. Such dastardly incidents deserve to be condemned in the strongest terms and need to be confronted with determination and firmness. The loss of precious lives of our security personnel in this tragic incident is indeed painful and unfortunate. The House joins me in expressing heartfelt condolences and sympathy to the bereaved families and praying for speedy recovery of the injured.
The Vice President in his address has appreciated all the doctors, nurses and other volunteers who are at the forefront of the combat against COVID-19 pandemic.
Yesterday was a super Sunday for our country. The voluntary curfew observed by the people of our country for 14 hours yesterday to contain the spread of this virus was unprecedented and heartwarming. The people of our country rose in unison to the call of national duty in this hour of crisis. This extraordinary response of the people was a clear demonstration of the collective resolve of the nation to address this formidable challenge. It was also heartening that a sense of gratitude and appreciation for the doctors, nurses, technicians, media, and all others who are in the forefront of the fight against the virus resonated across the country at 5 p.m. yesterday.
Indian equity markets plunged even lower today after reopening post 45-minute halt caused after the S&P BSE Sensex hit its 10% lower circuit level. The S&P BSE Sensex tanked 12% to 3,600 points to 26,260. The Nifty 50 index fell 1,032 points or 11.82% to 7,700. Although the markets saw an across-the-board selling, bank and auto stocks were the worst hit. The Nifty Bank index was down over 15%. Axis Bank tumbled 19% and IndusInd Bank was down 18%. ICICI Bank slumped 15%. In the broader market, the S&P BSE Mid-Cap Index was trading with 6.9% cut and the S&P BSE Small Cap Index was down 9.4%. Asian markets were mostly in the red in early trade this morning despite massive economic stimulus efforts worldwide. The Hang Seng Index in Hong Kong was down 3.7%, Sydney dropped 6%, Shanghai shared 2.5% and Taiwan was off 2.8%. Singapore tanked 7.5%, Jakarta lost 4% and Seoul was down 3.4%. Tokyo, however, was up 0.5% as a cheaper yen against the dollar boosted the market. Wellington nosedived 9.3% as New Zealand announced a 4-week lockdown to stop the spread of coronavirus. New Zealand Prime Minister during a press conference said that the country will move into its highest alert level with all non-essential services, schools and offices to be shut over the next 48 hours. However, supermarkets and pharmacies will remain open. All New Zealanders are instructed to stay at home until public health officials can grapple with the virus expected to be for 4 weeks around. On oil markets, Brent crude was down 3%, but West Texas Intermediate was up 0.8%. The commodity has faced increased volatility in recent weeks, not only because of the coronavirus pandemic, but also because of a price war between top producers Saudi Arabia and Russia. The negative mood was fueled by the failure of U.S. lawmakers to agree on a $1 trillion emergency package to help the reeling American economy. U.S. senators failed to agree on a $1 trillion proposal to rescue the American economy on Sunday, as Democrats said that the Republican plan failed to provide sufficient protection to millions of workers or shore up the critically under-equipped healthcare system. The bill proposed an estimated $1.7 trillion or more in funding to cushion the blow from the pandemic for American families and thousands of shuttered or suffering businesses. The global death toll from the virus has surged past 14,300, with nearly 1 billion people confined and non-essential businesses shut in dozens of countries, and growing fears about a recession. India will cease domestic operations of flights from the 24th of March 2020 midnight. Airlines have to plan operations so as to land at their destinations before that. The restrictions shall not apply to solely cargo carrying flights. To the rest, the restrictions would apply. Meanwhile, the Sri Lankan government has pledged $5 million to SARC Corona Emergency Fund proposed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, with an initial offer of $10 million from India to help combat the fast-spreading COVID-19 pandemic in the region. Earlier, Nepal and Afghanistan had pledged $1 million each. Maldives, Bhutan and Bangladesh committed $2 lakh, $1 lakh, $1.5 million respectively to the fund to show their solidarity in the fight against the menace in the region. Pakistan is now the only country left to declare its contribution to the fund. Italy's world-topping toll from the coronavirus pandemic approached 5,500 on Sunday after the Mediterranean country reported another 651 deaths. The latest daily toll was smaller than Saturday's record 793 fatalities, but still the second highest registered during Italy's month-long crisis. Italy's death toll now stands at 5,476. Meanwhile, Spain registered its worst figures so far after 394 people died in a single day, bringing the national total to 1,720. The government is seeking to extend the state of emergency until the 11th of April, a step that needs to be approved by Parliament. The measure introduced on 14th March bars people from all but essential outings. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has warned people to follow the government's advice, or tougher restrictions would have to be implemented, as the number of deaths reached 281. Johnson's warning came amid calls for police to enforce warnings to people to socially distance from each other. Meanwhile, the death toll in France due to COVID-19 has increased by a whopping 112 to reach 674, while the total number of cases reached 16,018. A total of 16,018 cases of infection have been recorded in France, while a total of 7,240 people have been hospitalized after falling ill with the virus. France has been in lockdown since Tuesday, with only essential trips outside allowed. Germany has expanded curbs on social interactions to try to contain the coronavirus outbreak, banning public gatherings of more than 2 people. The measures included closing hair, beauty and massage studios. Other non-essential shops had already been shut. Police will monitor and punish anyone infringing the new rules. Germany has so far confirmed 18,610 cases and 55 deaths from COVID-19. Meanwhile, Chancellor Angela Merkel was on Sunday in quarantine after meeting a doctor who tested positive for novel coronavirus. That's it then in this edition of the news. News and updates will continue on DD India and DD News.